And now, Gimmick Infringement.
Welcome, everybody, to the Gimmick Infringement Podcast. I am Brad Winchester, and with me, as always, is my tag team partner, Tyler McDowell Blanken. And Tyler, we are joined once again by a very special guest.
That we are, Brad. A special episode befits a very special guest. To know him is to love him. Fellow 2025 Sports Podcast Award nominee, Rob Wilkins, is back. Fightful's own Rob Wilkins. Rob, welcome back to GI. How are you?
Hey, good, man. Thanks for having me, guys. I'm excited to be here, and I'm excited to be part of this show because it sounds very intriguing to me because I've never really done a best of show or like talked about the year in review. So I'm very excited, and I'm anxious to see where we go from here.
Yeah, I can't wait to get into it. It's a lot of fun. Tyler and I really enjoy doing these things. Hopefully we live up to the expectations. Now, last year we had some really great categories and we decided to roll with it once again because we had a lot of fun. We're going to kick it off with the funniest moment of the year. Tyler, why don't you kick us off and then pass it to Rob?
I would love to, and I think you guys will respect my choice here. Of course, so many options. It's funny, the three of us were talking before our recording here about anything before June is a little bit hazy for me, so I had to kind of go back. I had to use Google. I had to go back in my notes and remember what all happened this year. And something that really stood out to me, particularly from the world of pro wrestling, is the ascension of AEW's Harley Cameron. Harley Cameron is the recipient of my Funniest Moment Award. Rob, Brad, you can choose anything, particularly from her Q4 of 2024, the backstage segments with Renee Paquette. Now she's promoting the 12 days of AEW deals for the holidays. The ascension of Harley Cameron, any moment you want, any backstage segment from Q4, she is a huge winner for me this year, and she is my choice for funniest moments of 2024. Rob, what say you?
Oh, man, and that's a great one. Harley Cameron's one of my favorite people,
You received a cameo from her.
Yeah,
if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, I received a cameo.
I saw that
from Chris Dog Mueller at Bleacher Report. Got me and my co-host Maggie a cameo from her, and he decided to tell her about my crush for her, which I was not expecting him to do. So that was something.
She brought out did the ventriloquist, right?
Yeah,
very
it
talented.
Turned out now I have a crush for Earl. So, but no, she's fantastic, and I think she's great. But my funniest moment of the year would, I think this is kind of from my standpoint. I think it's hilarious how, and this doesn't have to be wrestling, right?
Does not, no.
Okay. I found it rather hilarious how how big the Hawk Tuah thing got. I find it completely ridiculous that it was that big of a deal, and I actually find it funny. Like I think it's hilarious that people found it like just shocking or whatever it was. I just think it was just one of those things where I'm like, I don't know how she did this and how she became so popular, and I look at it from a standpoint of like I have no problem with her. Like that's not my problem. I find it funny how society reacted to that, and I think it's I know it sounds like weird, but I find it hilarious, but I also find it sad. That's my thing. So I'm just, like I said, I don't have a problem with her at all. Like that's not my issue. I thought it was just hilarious how some people acted and how some people went with it, and I think it just shows that if you just can't if you take life too seriously, it can get kind of dull. And I found this pretty funny that it got as big as it did. And I know that's probably not like the funniest moment of the year type stuff, but I find it rather just amusing and hilarious. So
yeah, I get it. Some of the things that I had on here for OLIs were things that happened at my job. A bus backed into the solar panels. what my wall on the south side of my building last year kind of fell off. The stucco outside paneling on that building just fell off, and it was on a day where water was coming down the downspout from a cloudless sky. So that was confusing. The cold water carried air conditioner line burst on my roof, so my air was out fine. It was 105 degrees, so what could possibly go wrong there? Water dumping out, and then the wall fell off. I thought they were related. They weren't. They just simply happened at the same time. If you can't look at that and just go like, all right, that's kind of funny. You lose your mind a little bit. And those were hilarious. The email we got about the bus backing into the solar panel that just ended with the words "I'm sorry" made me cackle in my car. I read it in my car and I was like, I can't drive. For me, I had a couple of things. I had on the OLI. I had Harley Cameron because I had a feeling Harley was going to be taken. I have this was tough for me because Chelsea Green's up there with me too. Chelsea Green.
Her.
Yes, it's so the dumpster, the everything. She's just incredible right now. I'm going to keep her on my OLI only because this was such a feel-good, fun moment for me. R-Truth getting to share the ring with his idol, John Cena, to do the 5-knuckle shuffle was him and The Miz and John Cena punching Judgment Day in the face. Just hearing commentary going, he's in there with his idol. I don't know, it just made me laugh a lot, but in the most nostalgic, best way. So it wasn't the funniest thing that happened this year, but it was funny and it made me feel really good. So I'm going to give it my funniest moment of the year.
You know, like, and I know I'm going to be that guy, but you made me remember, like, Chelsea Green, definitely her and Harley Cameron, two of my MVPs this year for like comedy. But you basically going into like life story there, like things that happened. That made me recall two different things at the same exact spot. That catty corner from where I live. There's one time there was a unfortunate car wreck, like that went into like a. It's not really. I guess it's just like a barrier of sorts, like just with like some plants and stuff at the corner of the street. Well, like there was the car wreck, and I heard the like loud bang, so I went outside, and instead of looking left at like not even once where it happened, I looked right, and I'm just like, I don't know what that was, and I never looked to my left. Then all of a sudden, a few minutes later, see police cars, ambulance, and I go back out there, and I'm like, and I looked to my left, and all of it was like right there, and I'm like. So I went back to my camera and looked, and sure enough, like I go right out there and I just look. I'm standing outside. I never turn around and look behind me at anything, and I found that rather hilarious. And I ended up, because it was a hit and run too, like somebody, I mean, it was a car wreck and the other person left. I ended up sending the tape to the police because they requested it when they saw the camera. And I told the detective, I'm like, you're going to see an idiot. And that idiot's me, because I go out there and I hear what happened, but I don't look because I didn't, I'm like, it's not going to happen over there. That was my thing. Because I told him, like, my issue always when I hear something is it's my next door neighbor, because I've had so many issues with them and they've had so many run-ins with law enforcement by themselves. I just assumed it was them. So I'm like, nothing's here. So I just never looked. And the detective's like, okay. He's like, not a big deal. And then when he told me about it, like after he watched it, he goes, that is kind of odd that you never look behind you. And I'm like, yeah, you're telling me. Like, I find it completely, like, just absolutely out of the world. And then the other thing that happened at that corner is, I live near a park that every year they put over 1 million Christmas lights in this park. And they usually were at the corner of the road. It's a yield sign, but because of the traffic that goes through, they make it a 4-way stop from November to early January. Well, I went out one morning when they were installing the street signs, and I don't know how they did this, but they put the stop sign the opposite way. so you couldn't see it from where, like, it instead of facing this, like where you're looking at it, where it should be, it was facing the other way, like backwards. And I called like city, and I'm like, I don't think somebody did this intentionally, because I'm looking at it on my security camera, and they just installed it wrong. Like I go, you might want to come and check this out. And sure enough, they came back and fixed it. And they're like, how the hell did this happen? So it was just one of those things where I've never seen anything like that. And
Oh my gosh.
just for them to put the stop, like the other ones, like for the four corners were fine. Just one of them was facing the wrong way. And I was just like, how in the hell is that possible? Because when I was a kid, I had a job like in the city of Tallahassee, Florida. They offered summer jobs for teenagers, and one of the jobs that I had was cleaning and fixing stop signs or road signs. And the way they have the brackets and stuff, you have to actually do it on purpose or on accident. Like you can't do it like purposely to do it that way. You have to do it like you have to set it up normal, like otherwise it's not going to work. So the person that did it just wasn't paying attention, and they just faced it the wrong way. I mean, they installed it correctly and everything, but they just faced it the wrong way. So they had to redo everything, and it didn't cost them money, because all they had to do was just pull it out and then turn it around, and it was fine. But I just found it hilarious that they didn't catch it.
It's like the spelling. Yeah, it's like the spelling painted on the road, like soft.
Yeah, pretty much. And luckily it was just a stop sign that they just had to turn around. And I honestly would have fixed it for him, but I knew, like, it's one of those things where if a police officer drives by and I'm the one fixing a stop sign, I'm going to get a nice little ticket. I'm like, I'm not going to do that. So 100%. I'll let somebody else do it.
100%.
Civilian of the Year, Rob Wilkins.
Yeah,
that's right.
Brad, that's a new category for us.
Put it in biggest real life Babyface. Yeah, no. Tyler, our next category, we'll send it off to you. Best off-air promo.
Perfect. I'm turning the clock back to springtime. March, April is what we're looking at. I have to go with The Rock's use of social media leading up to WrestleMania. The Rock dispelled the myth that we have in society that our elders don't know how to utilize social. He did this perfectly, using X, using Instagram, the feud with Cody Rhodes, the feud with The Rock, but mostly Cody. It was perfect, Brad. You may recall I was at SmackDown in March from the desert. The Rock was playing off of that before and after the promo of, what he's talking online. It was fantastic. The Rock wins my best off-air promo. The promos at his gym, the promos beating up Cody in the rain, all of it was perfectly executed.
I have a follow-up. Tyler, didn't he like take out the crowd in Phoenix, calling them like meth addicts or something like that, the meth capital, and everybody cheered?
He did. Yeah, he did. Rob, jump in. He did.
What's hilarious is I'm like, because of what I was doing for Fightful, I'm like, you know what? I should fact check this. Sure enough, I was like, holy hell, he's right. Like, this is right. I'm like, he's telling the truth. I mean, like, he knew this. And I'm like, how the hell do you know this, by the way?
I forget if it was during the promo or, to your point, Rob, maybe it was after, but I recall him mentioning, that's a real fact. I'm not just doing this for the sake of TV. Look it up, kind of like you did, Rob. So The Rock's use of social, of fact finding leading up to WrestleMania, it really was a work of art. And although it was at the expense of my city and the state that I call home, I have to give it up for him. He wins my best off-air promo.
Rob, what do you got?
Another non-wrestling, Kendrick Lamar.
Oh,
he absolutely destroyed
fantastic pick, Rob.
Yes,
he absolutely destroyed Drake this year.
Yes,
and Drake has not recovered, and it was that bad that I mean, I'm not saying it's Shockmaster bad, like for Drake, but it was pretty brutal.
Show.
Like, I mean, it was pretty bad, and I have to give it to Kendrick for shocking, like, just he buried that man, and that's my promo work of 2024. Like, congratulations, sir. I was always under the impression the person you did not want to get on the bad side of rap music was Eminem. There's now 2 people that I know of, and that's Eminem and Kendrick Lamar. Of course, I don't think I would ever get on that side to either one of those, but yeah, it's just a note to self type thing.
Yeah, it was Rabbit taking out Free World levels of beatdown. Really, really good pick. I was actually trying to figure out where I could squeeze Kendrick in here, just because of that. The whole time I was thinking about this, like that was sort of the story of the summer, right? Like coming into the fall, and yeah, absolutely wild. I can't believe that all of this stuff happened this year. It's crazy looking back. Tyler, like you, I picked Dwayne The Rock Johnson, and for that exact reason, even though AEW, man, they had some really good ones. The one that I picked in particular is the one that I probably use as a reaction video for more than anything else. And it was in Texas, and it was The Rock wearing the cowboy hat saying "off is the direction you can bleep." Absolute banger of an off-air promo. I love that one so much. I use that all the time just because it's such a funny reaction. If it were a GIF, maybe it makes our category, but it's not. I loved it. I'm going to stick with that. Okay, our next category. Best non-wrestling. Oh, best non-wrestling promo. And I know, Rob, you already hit this with Kendrick, but best non-wrestling promo. Tyler, what you got?
This is a tough one. We got to discuss August. This is mid to late August. The Democratic National Convention. I'm choosing Michelle Obama's speech. Flotus came through. The true exemplar of showing up and showing out. Brad and Rob. This is back when I had more hope in society. She has her approval rating has skyrocketed since the Obamas left the White House. The way she came through and delivered the speech and just kind of reignited that passion and those feelings of hope and inspiration amongst people in the audience and people, far and wide across the country. Definitely the recipient of my best non-wrestling promo. Michelle Obama, she is who we thought she was, guys. She killed it. She killed it as always. One of the best on the mic. She gets my vote here. Rob, where are you going?
I was going to say I'll kick it to you here, but I want to say I can't wait to talk about Charlie Kirk. I'm just kidding. I don't have any.
So apologies. Was that last one wrestling or that
the last one was just best off air wrestling?
Okay, so that was my
clarify. Yeah,
okay, I'm sorry, I misunderstood. So I'll do best off air promo. Drew McIntyre.
So good.
Drew McIntyre. Like with
so many options this year.
The whole year. I'm sorry that I misunderstood this last one. So
no, you're good, Rob.
But yeah, Drew McIntyre just absolutely destroyed it this year. Like even just a week ago with the whole Love Actually thing. Just I don't know if you guys saw that, but
that was awesome.
Like he just killed it like all year. And so yeah, Drew McIntyre is my winner for that. And then like I said, for off the air promo, like wrestling wise or non-wrestling wise, is Kendrick Lamar. So apologies for misunderstanding there.
No worries. So my best non-wrestling promo, my OLI, is my rant about Xfinity customer service.
These self-nominations are going crazy this year. First Rob, now Brad. That was a good one.
Tyler, I kid you not. The X1 box is in my car right now. It's ready to go back. I think it's going to be Hulu Live. TV is probably going to be the move after this. I looked at YouTube, and YouTube's great. No red zone, so it's got to go. I think I'm going to stick with Hulu Live. Save a little bit, not a lot, but a little bit. I'm going to go with recency bias here, but I'm going to go with the Sony CEO, Tony. It's okay. I had to write down phonetically how to say this. Tony Vinciquerra. That's his name. He's the current CEO, but he is stepping down. Recent interview about how awful Craven did at the box office. Just awful. The worst launch in his 8 years running the company. This is the man who I believe was behind the decisions to take all these Spider-Man properties and not include Spider-Man, which was just a brilliant decision on his part. This is what he said. Critics hated Craven. I'm paraphrasing. Critics hated Craven and Madam Web, but audiences did not. The critics scared them away. Critics hated Venom, but it was a massive success for them because audience did not hate it. He contradicted himself in his own promo by going like, the critics made this happen. It would have been successful, but the critics scared the audiences away because the audiences that saw it liked it. That's why Venom was such a big hit. So absolutely terrible. Total lack of self in this promo. Made me chuckle just in this interview because they asked about Craven and he hit him with and by the way, about Madam Web. Did not need to go there, but he decided to anyway, and then contradicted himself. I loved it. I love when people in positions of power absolutely make themselves look foolish for what appears from the outside the most obvious thing in the world. The reason they weren't successful is because you decided to make movies nobody asked for, nobody wanted to see, especially not like that. What are we doing here? Get out of here, Tony. So our next category is one of my favorite categories, actually. It always makes me chuckle just reading it, and is the Monty Williams It Was Good Until It Wasn't award. Tyler, kick us off.
I would be happy to, Brad. And this is unique. Obviously, it's the second year we're running back the Monty Williams Award. Monty Williams is no longer either of our coaches. I'm a Suns guy. You are a Pistons guy, Brad. Rob is bringing that Minnesota Timberwolves perspective. Don't worry, Rob. We will talk about Minnesota basketball very, very soon, good sir. I will have you know. Brad, it's one of my favorite awards. Okay, hear me out, guys. I have two honorable mentions. First being the University of Arizona athletics, namely football and men's basketball. It's rough out here right now, guys, as of this recording. The football season concluded. High hopes, not a good year, not even anywhere close to a winning record. And as of this recording, the men's basketball team and the women's basketball team are struggling. My second honorable mention, the relaunch of TNA wrestling. Heading into this year, I was all for it. Also, as of this recording, I am a TNA Plus subscriber. I don't know if that subscription is going to stay with me in 2025. We have a lot of signature talent who have exited or are reportedly exiting the company during Q1 of the new year. We're thinking of Speedball Mike Bailey, Josh Alexander, of course, the juggernaut Jordan Grace. And I don't know if you guys heard, but Tessa Blanchard is back in the company and seems to be headed toward being a face of the company, if you will, on the posters and everything. In fact, she's probably going to beat Jordan Grace at Genesis. So that's a strong honorable mention. But my pick here is April 12th. After 3 months of marriage, the Golden Bachelors, Gary Turner and Teresa Nist file for divorce. I wasn't sure how people would feel about me choosing a divorce. That I don't know, but it has to be the selection here, guys. We already worried that this show was kind of giving, they sold us a false bill of goods here with the idea of what Gary Turner was supposed to be. And then 3 months after saying I do, again, back in April, they call it quits. They separate, hoodwinked, bamboozled, led astray, use that Stephen A gif. We'll talk about gifs a little bit later. But my pick here is the very sad, but perhaps not the unexpected divorce of Gary and Teresa from the Golden Bachelor. Rob, you're up.
Well, I'm going to take a little cue from yours, honorable mention, and my honorable mention is Florida State football. They went from everybody like saying they should have been in the playoffs last year to they shouldn't even be in a Division I football team this year. That's how bad it went.
It was good until
that
it wasn't.
Was my honorable. It was good, like at the beginning of the year, and then it just like, that's not good. So there's my honorable mention. My it was good while it lasted. While I completely agree with your TNA one, that was a good one. It was good while it lasted was, and I'm gonna get probably some heat for this, but AEW's just, I'm hoping they've been turning it around lately, but I thought 2024 was a pretty boring year for AEW. Granted, they brought in some great talent. Will Ospreay is one of the GOATs right now, and Bryan Danielson, but just storyline wise, just things were there was a lot of lacking, and so that's it was good while it lasted. But I will say, as a caveat, it's not as bad, and I think they're on their way to recovery, just from what I'm seeing. So maybe that's an honorable mention, because now that I think about it more and more, it's gotten progressively worse. But I'm gonna say Twitter, actually. Twitter, it was good while it lasted. It's gotten a lot worse because of not only politics, but because of one of the the richest man in the world is and I can't believe I'm gonna say this, the richest man in the world, in my opinion, is bat crazy, and I don't know how like, I just don't get it.
No, I'm with you.
Like, it's just one of those things, and it's not a right or left thing. I think he's bat crazy. So, and like, people can have their political thoughts, and he can have his, but I just think the things he says and does, I don't get. Like, from a CEO standpoint, I don't understand. So there you go. It was good while it lasted, and it's gotten progressively worse since he bought it in 2022. But it really went downhill this year when you saw so many people leave it.
Yeah,
so that tells me that it was good while it lasted.
Yeah, I was debating today whether or not I wanted to put my Blue Sky handle up on the overlay. And Tyler, I moved yours over to our podcast account, because for those reasons, and I know I'm speaking for you right now, but Tyler's personal account's off X because of all of that. It's poison on there. I muted all of these different words this year, and they still showed up on my timeline anyway. And I did it because I don't want to engage, because I see it and I get mad. And then suddenly I'm engaging. I'm like, for my own mental well-being, I need to. And it's so much easier to kind of curate your timeline over on Blue Sky. And it's like, every time I'm on there, I'm seeing, oh, that's cool. Oh, look at that. This happened. That's cool. And it's mostly positive interactions. And if they're not, it's really easy to get them out of your life. And it's a great pick by you, actually. Wow. I can't believe I didn't put that down there. So similarly, because I felt the same about AEW. The angriest I got on our recording was after Full Gear, at how I was just like, what a waste of time. That there's a whole bunch of good stuff that happened on that card, but the main event, where it was just like kind of a prolonged squash for no reason that didn't help anybody, and then the show ended with nothing. It was just over. I was like, what a terrible way to end this after a couple of really, really positive things happened. And it again, to your point, it's not bad. It's just not as good as it used to be. And it's definitely on an uptick. I'm super hopeful for the pay-per-view as of this recording, I guess later today. So super hopeful that it's going to deliver. Because my Monty Williams, it was good until it wasn't, award is also an AEW award. And it was Rampage. This is kind of a cheat answer, because I'm going back 3 years, and you can correct me if I'm wrong, but the first episode of Rampage, we saw a new to AEW Christian Cage defeat Kenny Omega for the TNA title, and in the main event, I think that was the first Rampage, and the second one was CM Punk making his debut in the United Center.
The first dance. How can we forget?
I could not tell you what happened after that.
We've dipped so low.
Well, we had live, and then it just started recording, and then when Collision started, I can't believe I'm saying this, but I really grew toward the end of it. I really grew to enjoy AEW Dark and Dark Elevation. I liked watching those shows on YouTube because the commentary was so free that I just enjoyed listening to it. That's when we got to see, for the first time, Daddy Magic calling matches. It was a lot of fun to watch. It's just wild. Rob, were you able to verify the Christian Cage?
I'm actually looking that up right now, because I'm very curious.
It was
Yeah, you're
dreadful.
right. It was the first episode. It took place in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania, and
I guess Impact at the
yep.
time would have been Impact. Yeah.
Well, oh, sorry, thought you were talking about Rampage.
Oh yeah. I was thinking TNA title, but it would have been the Impact
Oh.
title because they were still.
Yeah, Christian
doing
Cage won the
Impact thing.
title. Yep, Impact World title. Yep.
Yeah, and then we got the first dance, and like, wow, was that what a time? That was
Jordan-esque, as JR would say. It was a big deal.
Yeah, Mark Henry dropping the obnoxious "wow" on commentary because of a dare.
That's Brad. That's one of the signature moments of AEW. I know it's maybe not aged the best for various reasons, but that was. I mean, you go on YouTube, millions upon millions of views, and that was on Rampage. To the brilliance of your pick, Brad. I think a lot of people probably just remember that as, oh, that was on Dynamite, but no, that was Friday night at the United Center.
Yeah, and it was most of the show, right? Like it was the first half of the show was
as it should be. Yeah,
CM Punk came back, and then it was followed by I think Jurassic Express and a couple of other matches.
I want to say the main event was Mox versus Daniel Garcia.
It was.
Yeah, sounds right. Oh, okay, very good.
Yep.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
I remember that main event because of CM Punk's debut. Wow, great pick, Brad.
It's crazy that the act that followed, looking back now, was one with Jack Perry in it. It was the one that followed.
Wow, yeah.
And he was calling out Darby Allin. He wants to work with Darby Allin.
Yeah, Darby's in the rafters.
Yeah.
And,
wow. So good. And a lot of people will be like, well, they really screwed it up with Punk and all of that stuff. And it's like, well, Punk's back in the WWE doing all of his very successful stuff, looking really happy and healthy and all of those things. I think that's great. But he doesn't come back without that. If Rampage and if AEW doesn't exist, the WWE isn't nearly as healthy as it is. Or if it does become that, it would have taken a lot longer to get there. We might just now be starting to see the fruits of that. So I don't know if Punk ever would have decided to go back had he not had a initial positive experience and then going like, no, I actually still want to do this, and maybe it'll be different with Hunter. I just, as the last episode aired yesterday with a chaotic brawl, I can hear Sean in my head yelling "War Games." Like all of that just sort of stopped, and it was a pretty missable show for the most part. And I could go back and catch some matches. It's just some of my favorite people wrestled on there. Willow had a bunch of matches on there, and I'd always have to go and find it because I wanted to watch those. So it stinks that another show and another opportunity for the talent to be on TV isn't there anymore, but it just wasn't a great product toward the end. Our next category, biggest real life babyface. This is a really difficult category to figure out because there's all kinds of philanthropy in the world and there's people that are doing great charitable work. I think we were kind of going with this last year, Tyler, and correct me if I'm wrong. Like, who do you think is probably the biggest babyface in wrestling? And I don't know how to answer that because I don't know any of these people. So I did my best. I'll kick it to you and see what you got.
Yeah, I got two honorable mentions for this. Last year, my pick was Darius Lockhart, the owner and founder of Ashe Wrestling. He is definitely befitting of this award, once again, with the strides that Ashe has made over the last year. Also, a huge honorable mention for me is the icon, the man who is foundational to our relationship as a trio, the Stinger. We saw his retirement at AEW Revolution. One of my favorite moments of the year. Brad and I, as our listeners may recall, actually saw Sting live at Dynamite. Sting and Darby Allin defeated Big Bill and the artist currently known as Ricky Starks to become tag team champs. My favorite live wrestling experience ever. Sting continues to seem like a real life babyface. No one ever has anything bad to say about him. The youngsters, the vets, everyone admires this guy for so many reasons. If you're interested in hearing more of our thoughts on Sting, check out our special series earlier this year with the great Rob Wilkins. Again, Sting is an honorable mention. Guys, my pick here is Mina Shirakawa. Like Harley Cameron, she has ascended this year. I did not know of her or her talent prior to 2024, but she arrived on the scene. The feud with Mariah May was fantastic. Mina on social media just seems so joyful. She loves wrestling. She loves traveling. She just always seems so happy. People seem to love her. Obviously, the audience has gravitated toward her, the pro wrestling audience. I'm going to roll with Mina Shirakawa for 2024's real life babyface of the year.
I like that.
Rob, what do you think?
Oh, those are great choices. My real life baby face. This is gonna sound weird, but I think it's Michael Cole. Michael Cole has grown like on me since like he's just gotten better over time, like just much better. And granted, I knowing now and seeing how he is now, you could see the passion like in his work, and that's good to see. And I know like maybe babyface isn't the right word, but he does his job so well, and people like the respect that you give him or that he gets now is rather great to see. And um, he's funny when he needs to be. And I think that's a good thing. I know maybe babyface might not be the right word, but I consider him like my my babyface of the year. And I'm if you would have told me 3, 4, or 5 years ago that Michael Cole would be in the WWE Hall of Fame, I'd be like, nah. Now I'm like, yeah, he's bona fide WWE Hall of Fame material. He's I know, like, I would have never ever guessed I would ever say that like 5 years ago. I would, but it just shows how good he was with this character, and it also shows how held back he was by a certain person, and the fact that he's still doing what he does and he's so good at it um, tells me a lot. So he's my baby face of the year.
It's a great pick. I had just seen the video of I don't even know what the event was, but I know it was like heel Edge, rated R, superstar Edge, that era when Mick Foley was doing commentary for a minute, and they had like a bet win Vince. It was win Vince McMahon's money, and and Foley said Vince McMahon hasn't thrown away this much money since signing Bill Goldberg, and commentary goes dead silent because Michael Cole had to mute his mic to laugh hysterically for a couple of minutes while I'm sure Vince tore Mick a new one in the microphone. I'm sure that's what happened there. But yeah, he's if that were today, there's no way he mutes his mic. Michael Cole just gets to be Michael Cole, and I love that. He's been freer, excuse me, and awesome. What a great pick. I didn't even have that. Oh, that's such a good one. So mine, this is something that should have been like a conversation we've had a bunch of times. He's done charitable work. He's done all kinds of Make-A-Wish stuff. And by the crowd interactions that you see on his way out to the ring, on the way back, whatever it might be, I got to give it to Rey Mysterio Jr. specifically. Rey Mysterio he just seems like an absolute legendary babyface. All of his interviews, he's thanking people. He's super humble. He loves what he does. Seems like a legitimately good family man, despite what Dirty Dom might have you think. All of these things are wonderful, and I think that somehow we've overlooked this, Tyler, as just like him. We talk about him as being maybe your favorite wrestler of all time, and all of these different things, and we forget. Oh yeah, he's actually seems to be a really, really good guy. And I'm going to give it to the man while he's still working in the ring, and say he is my biggest real life baby face.
It's an amazing pick, Brad. It's very much given that Sting, respected by everyone.
Yeah.
Comes to work, does his thing, treats people well, and goes about his business. I'm jealous. Rey Mysterio, fantastic pick by you. You guys are really bringing it this episode.
And I just want to add add to that. This is just a side note. When they officially put him and Dominic back together,
oh man,
and they will,
it'll happen.
That's going to make Dominic a star. It will make him a bona fide star in the company, because if they do it right. And what I'm saying is how they do it right is he has to come like save his dad, like something like that. That's how they have to do it, because they have to have it like the Cody and Dustin hug at at
Yes.
Double or Nothing, or the
Wow.
Dustin and Dusty hug on WCW Saturday Night. I mean, there's so many different ones you can look at. Macho and Miss Elizabeth. That would be kind of weird if they start kissing, but but you know what I mean. Like,
Yeah.
people love like Kevin Owens, Sami Zayn. That's one thing
Mhm.
that people absolutely love in wrestling is the emotional part, because we don't get to see it much, but when it happens, it's just it's great. And when that happens, in my opinion, Dominic he'll go from here to even higher. And
Mhm.
he might not be, again, this is something I never thought I'd say, but he has the potential to be mid to main event talent. Like, not quite main event talent, but or maybe he can. Like,
I can see it.
It's very possible, because I think his popularity is going to just soar, and we'll see. But I honestly think once they put those two together again, and if they do it right, it will make him a bona fide star.
Maybe
He's
a
already
reunion with Rhea Ripley at some point too, Rob.
Yeah, maybe, you never know. That'd be kind of weird too. But
We
you
got
never
to we
know.
got to see her hit him with the Riptide first.
Yeah.
mind you. But then, Brad, I cut you off. You were going to jump in.
Well, no. I was going to say, like, that at that point, I can see that change, because it's just a little tweak, right? Like, you don't have to change his character all that much. You just have him do an act of good and then leave him be. He can still be demanding chicken nuggies and stuff, and people are going to go nuts for it. People are going to do nuggie chants. Like, it's going to feel like Owens out there, which is going to be real weird when people are chanting nugget and don't realize what's happening. But
Wendy's or somebody's going to have to get into a
100%.
sponsorship deal. The
Yes.
Wendy's guy, unless they got a new one, he's a wrestling guy, just like us. So there's a lot of potential
I did
there,
not know that.
I think.
Oh, well, maybe we'll put in a good word. I'll say, Dave Thomas was adopted. I'm adopted. Maybe we can work out a nugget thing. Maybe that's what we can do here. Oh, so good. So our next category is, I have feelings about this one. Biggest non-wrestling work. Now, last year, to remind the listeners and viewers, Gary Turner of The Golden Bachelor, referenced earlier today, was our biggest work of the year. That's when we found out he was none of the things he said he was. And that was Tyler's pick. My pick was Aaron Rodgers, just for, generally just all of it. And at that time, I believe he was still saying, like, no, I'm injured, but I might be able to make it back. I can come back before the end of the year, those kinds of things. So Tyler, kick us off. Biggest non-wrestling work of 2024.
I'm proud of us. Both of those picks have aged very well, dare I say. Okay, I'm looking at two options here, guys. First option, I could go with, and granted, I did not watch a single solitary second of this, but the highly successful Netflix produced Mike Tyson versus Jake Paul exhibition. Such a work. Thank you. I'm glad. The fact that so many of us were worked into believing that Mike Tyson stood a chance in this, that there was, oh man, Rob Wilkins. Should I continue? I should continue.
We wait. That's
okay.
Fine.
Okay. I'll note this.
Spilled coffee all over myself earlier, so that's good.
Oh no. Starting the weekend off right.
Yeah.
This is great, man. Thank you for organizing everything. This is super fun.
Yeah, this is good. Oh, there he is. Let's see. Oh, did you? Yeah. All right, you do it. All right.
Brad added you and I removed you, Rob. Sorry
I'm
about
not sure
that.
what happened there. Sorry about that.
Oh no, you're
I think
good.
I just hit when I was grabbing water. I think I just grabbed it, hit the X on my space bars. Or hit
that's
the
so
space
funny.
bar and hit the
You're
X.
good.
So
You're totally
I
good. I
looked
think
up
it's
and I'm
the
like,
water.
where the hell did they go?
It was good until it wasn't. Where'd it go?
There you go.
Well, I have a magic mouse, and every once in a while when I'm trying to scroll, like, just down, I'll swipe it left and it'll go back. So it'll back me right out of the StreamYard. I'm like, damn it, it's always after a show, and it's always mid conversation with Tyler, something important about life. And then it's just like, yeah. And then what happened is he took the gun, and then I'm gone. And it's like, oh, I'm just leaving him hanging there. Okay, Tyler, do you want to just what the hell were we doing there? Okay. Biggest non-wrestling work. Do you want to jump back in and just
Sure. Yeah.
start
Just
with,
pick up where I left off.
Yeah.
Sure. Okay. You want to go at 44, 45?
Yeah.
Okay, great. Thanks for coming back, Rob.
Yeah, sorry, I don't know what happened there. That was
You're good.
just odd.
All right, fellas. Netflix again, Jake Paul, Mike Tyson, such a work. The fact that we were led to believe that these guys have real animosity toward her, the fact that we were led to believe that Mike Tyson stood a chance after his very long battle in boxing and with life. They convinced us all, or not me, but they convinced many of us, millions of us, to tune in. And apparently there were some really good fights on that card, sans the main event. So happy that other fighters were at least put on in the process. But this is not my pick, guys. I told you we would talk some Minnesota. It's only right with Rob being here. This hurts my heart. But the biggest non-wrestling work of 2024 was the WNBA Finals, particularly the fifth and final game. The New York Liberty defeated the Minnesota Lynx. There were so many, and I'm usually not this type of fan. I need you guys to believe me here. But the officiating was terrible.
Yeah,
I'll attend high school games, and there'll be parents in the audience just riding the refs and getting on them. And I loathe that. Being a ref is an incredibly difficult position. However, for this particular WNBA Finals, for the deciding Game 5, the championship on the line, there were so many bad calls that happened to favor New York. And obviously, New York has the star power, not only one of the top markets in the league, but you got Sabrina, you got Stewie, you got the MVP, Jonquel Jones. It just seemed like there was something going on here, and the league was invested in New York winning. It's a league that I've supported since I was a youngster. It hurts my heart, but that WNBA Finals was a total work. I don't think the New York Liberty should have defeated the Minnesota Lynx.
And you wanted that to happen, right? Like you're kind of a Liberty fan.
By proxy. Yeah, by proxy. My
do it
mom
for
was
mom.
very
Your
excited.
mom, yeah.
I got her a t-shirt. I'm a part of the problem.
Yeah.
Well, the fact that the commissioner wore like her suit or something had like the New York skyline or something like on it was just like,
Rob, I'm saying. I love Ellie. I love the mascot like everyone, but that was not it.
oh,
Rob, what you got? We'll stay in Minnesota.
Mine is WWE ticket prices.
Thank you. Thank you.
How ridiculous it is. Granted, I know a company's top goal is profits. I get that. I completely understand, but I think there's a limit to how far you can go. And while I get their product is hot, I get it, and maybe it'll go back down price wise because it's just one of those things where I thought it was ridiculous seeing how much ticket prices were. I mean, for Germany, for Bash in Berlin, looking at U.S. ticket prices, the cheapest one would have been $300, I believe, if my memory is correct. That's just plain ridiculous for that. And granted, I know people are going to pay it, okay, but I think seeing that the days of taking a family of 4 to a wrestling show are pretty, sorry about my dogs if you can hear that, I don't know if you can, but it seems like those days might be over for I shouldn't say that they're over, but I think you'll see them less for family of 4, and AEW has potential to fix that for them if they do it right, but they're going to be booking smaller places, and yeah, so I just think it's WWE ticket prices. I get why they do it. I do. I totally understand from a business sense, and if I was a CEO, I would be like, too bad. I get it. It's just the way I feel right now.
Listen, I took my wife, I took my kid. We went to Raw. We had pretty good seats, but we were ramp side on the hard cam side, so we were right across from the entrance. So the ring, the view was a lot of this. for the evening. So it's not like we were in this perfect seating area. It was, of course, my camera went, come on, back to me. No, I'm just going to sit it. No, embrace the mess. Okay, there it goes. I think we spent over 300 for those tickets for the three of us. And it's like, even that. And I was like, okay, those are really good seats for not a terrible price. Thinking like, wait a second, this is a terrible price for all of these tickets. And then it's the, the 35 for parking. And then if you get any concessions, and of course we're going to get merch. We got the Yeet hat for Freya. She wore it there, and she doesn't know who the Usos are, but she knows that I yeet her under the bed if we wrestle. So she wanted to get a hat that said Yeet on it because she thinks of her dad, which is dope. Right now, though, I'm having gone to a couple of the two that have been in Phoenix AEW events. I don't know that I would take my 7-year-old to an AEW event. WWE, I knew was going to be safe. AEW, the ones that we went to, there was the first one, there was so much blood that I was like, I don't think she's going to enjoy this very much. And she was 5 then, but it's so much more affordable. And now, I don't know, in a year or two, especially if Danhausen's going to stick around, she would love that. Danhausen's her second favorite wrestler behind Bianca Belair. My biggest non-wrestling work feels like a cop-out, but it still fits, to Tyler's point. It aged well. I'm going Aaron Rodgers again, who's a 2-time biggest non-wrestling work. We had a year's worth of all of this stuff, this shenanigans, to have poor play, mind you, on a team that was built around him. That guy worked that entire organization into thinking, if you just get rid of the head coach, if you just get rid of the offensive coordinator, if you just get Devontae Adams, if you just get these other guys that I played with in Green Bay, he's just trying to make Green Bay in New York, and it's not working out. All of it to get this is how it looks from the outside, all of it to get this sort of like attention built up so that his documentary will be successful, and to kind of get people to believe in him again a little bit. I don't know if any of that is true. He's got some wildly crazy ideas. He says some stuff that makes me insane. He also gave me a Super Bowl as a Packer fan. So it's really hard for me to be like, curse you forever, guy who gave us excellence for over a decade and made me enjoy my football Sundays for over a decade. I can't exactly be too mad at the guy. He made me love my team. I rooted for him for years and years and years. And I still think he's one of the greatest of all time. And I just think that a lot of the stuff that happened over the last year just felt a little bit like a work. Is it not? I don't know. Tyler, my favorite one, it's Paul Heyman's This, My Friends, is a Shoot award for best GIF, or GIF if you prefer, of 2024. Now, last year we had Prince Nana during the Full Gear Death Match, and here's Kenny from Wrestle Kingdom 17 peeking through the hole in the table. Tyler, what you got?
I'm gonna go with NXT Deadline from earlier this month in December. Specifically the men's Iron Survivor Challenge. I love the shot they got when Obafemi was revealed as the surprise entrant. Specifically that last shot they had of Javon Evans looking mortified that Obafemi was entering the match. This was produced so well. The shock, the terror, I thought they killed it. And at that point, I knew Obafemi was about to kill everybody in that match. On his way, my prediction, to becoming NXT men's champion in 2025. Thought they executed this very well, and Javon Evans' acting in that moment was fantastic. How about you, Rob?
I was at that event, and
oh wow,
it was a fun event to be at. And just the reactions. You're right. I don't know what they showed Nathan Fraser's reaction or not, but his was pretty good too. But it he was on the ring apron and he looked and he just kind of did like the like one of those, like it was just good. I don't know if they caught
I totally forgot you were there, Rob. That was in your backyard. That makes sense.
Yeah.
And the back and forth with Ethan Page when they got in the cage, Oba and Ethan.
Oh man,
That's a great
that was
option.
that was good comedy.
Hilarious. Yeah.
Man, I'm trying to think of a good moment for me, like for like meme like type moment, and
It's tough.
it's very tough because I know there's something I'm missing here, and
we got the moment at Revolution going back to Sting. I loved when the Young Bucks super kicked him, the super kick party, and then his head kind of goes back, but then he
into the
just
gorilla.
That's gonna be a GIF I use in the future. I know I'm biased, but
man, trying to think. Like my favorite one, like is one of the newer ones is John Moxley going like that.
Yeah, that's a good one.
Great choice.
Man, and that I know that was last year or the year before, but you know what? I know what it is. The Snoop Dogg from the Olympics where he lifts his sunglasses, like
yes,
with the wide eye.
That's such a good one.
That one I've used a lot, so that's my meme.
Very patriotic of you. I love it.
Yeah, for America. So
my this was a tough one because this one is much better with sound. You'll understand as soon as I say it. I had to. It was backstage, I believe, and it was the first time in the world got to hear it and see it outside of people that were watching other promotions. It's Tama Tonga, and it's the easiest choice for me. It's the It's just so.
We've been waiting for that impression all year, Brad.
I didn't flip that. Flip That's another one.
It's such a good one, especially the side profile. Not being able to hear it and just seeing him go. It's just so good. It's just such a good reaction. It's just so it's so good. Definitely better with sound, but that one showed up after Mania and totally worth it to me. I'm going with it. I'm happy with that pick. That was fun. Okay, our final one. This one is, you could look at it as the best. I don't want to say the best wrestler award because that's not really what it's about, but the best gimmick of the year. We can't have not have a best gimmick on Gimmick Infringement. So the best gimmick of the year. Now, last year's winners with Tyler and I, our picks, Timeless Tony Storm, and that's it. That was the list. It was Timeless Tony, and it was unanimous. I also had LA Knight on there, but Timeless Tony Storm was both of our picks last year. Tyler, what you got this year?
It's got to be the OTC Roman Reigns for me. The fact that if we reflect on the year that was, he did not change a single element of his persona. He simply took time off, came back, unwilling to pass the throne to Solo, and yet he transitions from us booing him to us unanimously, vigorously cheering him. He is the OTC for a reason. Roman Reigns is my choice here. Best gimmick.
I'm not going to let you forget that I saw that finger go into the sky when Solo was out there in Phoenix. You're betraying the OTC.
This is very true. This did occur. Roman Reigns has got to be the pick for me, guys. He came back this year again, dropped the title at Mania to Cody. One of the best moments in wrestling from 2024. Takes time off, comes back at SummerSlam to just unanimous applause. Switches it up to now OTC. Merch is flying off the shelves. Brilliant. He's got to be the choice here. Rob, do you agree?
Oh, I think it's an excellent choice, and for like just getting us to eat, like basically eat out of his hand, like just. I mean, I remember since I've covered wrestling, there's been very few times where I've gotten goosebumps. When he came out at SummerSlam, like I remember looking at my arm and I'm like, my God, like that was just something else. Like, just damn, like that whole whole night, like that was just awesome as it could be, and just Cody's reaction, just looking at him like what, like type thing, and I just that might be my favorite moment, for sure.
You put that ahead of Cody winning at Mania?
Yeah, like really? See, that's the thing. Like that whole main event, WrestleMania 2 or WrestleMania Night 2, that whole thing, like going back and forth. You had John Cena, then you had
it's ridiculous.
The Rock, The Undertaker.
Or The Rock. Or sorry,
it was
The
a
Rock,
production. It
Dwayne
was a
Johnson.
production.
Seth Rollins was in there.
Yeah,
Seth Rollins,
and then you
of
had
course.
The Undertaker, who we all thought it was going to be Stone Cold. Like,
Mhm.
and I know that Lincoln Financial does not have a roof, but if it would have been Stone Cold, they would have busted the stadium lights. It would have been massive, and I do wish it was Stone Cold. But with it being an Undertaker, it also helped. It made some sense too. You know, like it wouldn't have made as much sense as Stone Cold, but
Yeah.
I still give it a lot of like this is what wrestling's all about. Like the crowd was eating it up. You know, like just it was just man, it was just something else, and that's it's. I'm gonna actually go with that WrestleMania night 2. That you made me change my mind because Roman's involved with that, and they left it open ended for that too with him and The Rock. So there's so many different things there. You have The Rock and Cody. You have Roman and Cody still like potentially. You know, there's 3 feuds right there in it, and 4 because you have Seth Rollins who did not team with Roman this at Survivor Series. The other thing too is that keeps me like rather intrigued and entertained about all this is Roman hasn't apologized for anything.
No,
like you know, and that's what's
nothing
great about
Not a
this
thing.
at all too. So, I give it to like maybe the Bloodline like overall with night 2 of WrestleMania because I've been just enamored with it, and they keep us on our toes because the last person I predicted like in early October, I'm like I have a feeling CM Punk's going to be involved in the Survivor Series match, but I wasn't expecting it to happen the way it did, and the fact that like the crowd went nuts when we got a returning Paul Heyman. This just everything Bloodline was just badass. You know, it's what wrestling's about.
And Rob, as you expressed, there could even be a case here for the final boss version of The Rock. I know that goes into one of my earlier picks, but he leaned into a persona that felt familiar, but also he made specific, unique tweaks to it. So yeah, everything was working well with this storyline. Brad, what say you?
Well, first of all, I realized that a reaction gift we could have gone with is The Rock's face after the lights come back up, or just when the gong goes off for the Undertaker, Rock going,
yes,
like stopping and distracting, all wide-eyed and looking around. Also,
even the mana earlier, right? That Rob
Yes.
had the goosebumps. That's a gift that I used.
It's another one. Yes, exactly. I was thinking that was another one. It's
He's a
great
big
one.
winner.
Yeah, so good. So my pick for best gimmick this year, it's really, really hard. It's really, really hard for me not to pick Toni Storm because of all of her best work as Timeless Tony happened this year. It was just so good. And now she's kind of Timeless Tony, but with amnesia. And it's so good. All of it is so good. But because I couldn't figure out another way to honor her, I gotta go Chelsea Green. I have to go Chelsea Green here. Chelsea Green, she earned that first ever U.S. Women's Champion title for her work, her consistency, her character, all of that. She has gotten herself into a place where the crowd loves her. She was a heel in that match, and they were booing the babyface. It felt like 1997. It was wild, and it was really, really cool to see Chelsea get her flowers and have the entirety of the audience behind her to get that win, get that moment, and kind of honor her character work. I can't not give it to Chelsea Green this year. Chelsea Green gets my best gimmick of the year.
I love it.
Great choice.
No issues with that pick.
We have a thing now, like at Fightful, where when we put her like in a title, we always put longest reigning U.S. women's title.
Yes,
I saw that.
Yeah, I've seen that. So good.
So
accurate.
Yeah,
and I saw she retweeted and commented on it as your longest reigning women's champion and stuff. Yeah, it's so good.
Love that.
Yeah. Well, that makes me happy.
Speaking of which, Rob, we absolutely loved having you. Thank you so much for joining us on this very, very special edition. How can our audience connect with you and support your work?
Oh, guys. Well, first off, thank you for having me. Just like the Sting show we did earlier this year, I had a blast, and I want to say thank you for having me because working with you guys is fun for me, and yeah, it's a blast. So anytime you guys want me, just feel free to ask because I'm always game for it. Guys, you can follow me at Rob Wilkins on X. I'm not on there as nearly as I used to be. Um, I'm also on Instagram at Fightful Rob and on um, Threads at Fightful Rob, and I do have a Blue Sky Rob Wilkins dot everything else. I always get
Yeah.
confused with
Yes, it's a lot.
but
Yeah.
yeah, Rob Wilkins on there. And then every Friday, 3 o'clock Eastern on Fightful Overbook, coexisting with Rob and Maggie. We are a ridiculous duo. We say things we shouldn't say, um, and we do things that we shouldn't do. So, but we always talk wrestling, and um, it's just we're just having fun. That's the thing. We just have fun. We talk wrestling. I let Maggie go off on what she needs to go off on, and I just kind of sit there and take it. And um, it's just a good time. We go from an hour to an hour and a half every Friday. Give it a try. I hope you do. If you watch it, let us know what you think. So, but yeah, every Friday, 3 o'clock, and then I'm always on Fightful. Like I do a lot of the behind the scenes stuff that you don't see. I do like the thumbnails. I do the um, like the editing of the resource pages, like the who signed contracts, stuff like that. So I do a lot of behind the scenes stuff there. So, but yeah, I want to say thank you again for having me. You guys are great, and anytime you need me, just feel free to ask because I'm game. I like doing this
Awesome.
kind of stuff. So
Great. Thank
Stay
you so
blessed.
much for being on. Yeah, the reciprocated feelings here.
Yeah, great combo. Thank you, Rob. Thank you, Brad. Thank you all for joining us. Happy New Year, everyone, and we will see you next time. Gimmick Infringement is a part of 19 Media Group. You can listen to us on Apple, Spotify, iHeartRadio, or wherever you find podcasts. You can also find us on YouTube via the 19 Media Group channel. Please like, subscribe, comment, and share.